What's up, everybody? It's your boy. I just wanted to talk about random battles really quick. Can we just all get those out of our games from now on? Can we just never have random battles, please? I've got a couple of thoughts here. I've been thinking about this for a while. I just feel like random battles are awful and make no sense. Also, everybody hates them. I mean, if you actually do, if you enjoy random battles, I would love to hear about it. Because everybody I've ever talked to hates them. Why would you even put one in a game, first of all? And all they really do is pad out a game's playtime in the worst possible way. Even if your game does have the interesting battle system that everybody strives for, it's gonna eventually become boring after repeating the same couple battles over and over. So RPG maker games are plagued with this. I've been playing just random games here and there, just seeing what's up, seeing what's working for people, what's not, and I'm just finding most of these titles are not fun. Here are my reasons. So, I feel like random battles make exploration a pain. It's so easy to get turned around in a map or completely forget which way you were going or what you were doing after a random battle. Instead of taking extra time to explore a map, I usually find that random battles encourage me to actually get out of that map as soon as possible. I can't stand when people or companies even advertise that their game is 10, 20, 30 hours long. You know, if half of that is, or even a third of that is random battles, then all you're really doing is wasting my time and trying my patience. So, Octopath Traveler, that's a really good example of a modern, old-school RPG with too many random encounters. Yes, too many random encounters. I can only play the game in 1 to 2 hour spurts, even though I do enjoy the game for the most part, but I'm just that type of person who's gonna go to every corner of the map, and I find getting bombarded by random battles during this time is just honestly exhausting. It takes me like 30-40 minutes to check out a tiny map. Luckily, that scholar, though, he learns the skill that reduces random encounters by, I would guess, half, and that really helps out a lot. In RPG Maker MV, if your encounter rate is below 50 steps, you should be shot. No, but seriously, you should seriously consider at least tripling that, honestly. In fact, it would be much better if you could just take them out completely. Learn from successful RPG Maker titles like Skyborn, for instance, which is, not my favorite game in the world, but it is very highly rated on Steam, and it's considered by many, including myself, I guess, to be a gem of the RPG Maker community. In Skyborn, enemies walk around the map, and you can choose whether or not you want to engage them or not. Some battles are unavoidable. There's plenty of scripted battles to make sure you're leveling up and getting your sword dirty and all that, and it never gets to the point of being way too many unavoidable enemies or anything like that. The problem is just as bad, though, if the developer puts a bunch of enemies on the field that either move so fast or chase you or chase you, and you end up fighting them that way, or by placing so many monsters that you have no choice but to battle multiple times. That's just as terrible, honestly, and looks so stupid on the map. Make the player look forward to battles by spreading them out and scripting a few fun ones instead of padding your game's runtime by forcing battles everywhere. Random encounters usually end up forcing the player to fight the same enemy group dozens of times, even if there's multiple enemy sets set up on the map. Going along with random battles, I think it's important to say that if you have your heart set on putting random battles in your game, then at least you need to make the flee escape rate 100%. Any lower than that, and honestly, you're being an asshole. Give the player more options, not less. Let the player play the game they want it the way they want. Don't force tedious situations and actions like that. I use Yanfly's Battle Engine core to increase the escape ratio to 100%. I think the default's 50% with like a 10% boost every time you fail, which is awful. I'm sure there's other ways to do it, though. And if you're worried about the player not getting enough experience or JP or something like that, just increase the EXP and JP rates of your scripted battles and bosses. That'll make sure your battles are more rewarding and seem more fun. Truthfully, there's a lot of RPG Maker games out there, and you have to understand that gaming's not what it used to be back in the day. back in the 80s, 90s, even early 2000s, random battles used to work for older games because there were hardware limitations that made that system basically the only option. There was also a lot less competition from games in general, so people tended to play one game for a longer period of time than nowadays, where good games are basically a dime a dozen. These days, you're not just competing with other RPG Maker developers, you're competing with every other form of entertainment, both digital and not digital. Most people don't want to grind random battles in any game, much less your crappy ass RPG Maker game, honestly. By adding random battle fluff to your game, you're robbing precious time from the player and actually robbing that time from other creators as well, which I think of as just one of the most selfish and thoughtless things a developer can do. But that being said, I don't think there's anything wrong with a short game. I think a game should only be as long as it needs to be, and the same goes for any form of music, movies, video games, any kind of art. This is just one dude's take on random battles, and why we're really not seeing this system that much anymore, outside of, at least RPG Maker games at least. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about all that down below, or not. I'll catch y'all later.